Welcome to SVG-TV News from Monday, May 23, 2016. I'm Lafern Fraser with the details. Former banker and human resource consultant Noel Dixon is of the view that the recent decision by the Royal Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, or RBTT, here to impose a monthly service charge on their customer accounts was influenced by the amount of money needed for the bank to operate. It has been reported that the bank will be deducting 25 EC dollars monthly from customers' personal accounts, and since the news broke, many of these customers have expressed outrage at the proposal and the lack of consultancy on the matter and have been withdrawing their monies in droves. On Sunday's Hits Talk program, Dixon says the decision was most likely made to curb whatever outstanding balances the bank may have, and the more they charge their customers, the more they have to deplete any outstanding balances or fees.
Suspect that the present situation with the bank is one in which the cost that is involved to operate, and when I say the cost involved here, I mean banks get their income from whatever interest that they may get from their mortgages and other services that they provide, whatsoever loans that they give, they will get their interest. Now, the banks also have to be paying interest on deposits. But we know that government also will affect the environment in which our banking institution operates. And I believe, given the cost that is involved for banks to operate, they also have to recover some aspect of their costs. They also have to get some sort of interest, or I want to say some sort of profit, as it were.
The consensus of all three panelists on Sunday's program is that the bank has too much cash and it's costing them too much money to keep that cash. Therefore, they want their customers to pay them more so that they can keep their money. Former bank executive and businessman Cleve Lewis is of the view that persons are not borrowing enough from the banks, including RBTT, because they're afraid to make investments due to the current economic climate in SVG. He also stated that if persons want to know if their bank is in a crisis, they just have to check the balance sheet.
The bank is saying, I have so much cash, I can't find people to borrow it, to create proper investment. People are afraid because of the current economic climate in Civilization. A run in the bank will occur if anyone looking at the balance sheet of any financial or banking institution and see, one, my cash is now impaired if I am surging towards 100% deposit ratio liability. It means that the bank is very, very short of cash. What we are saying to people out there, to know if the bank is in crisis, it is simple, you look at the balance sheet.
And opposition leader Anim Eustace has expressed disappointment that not enough information is being given to customers of the RBTT Bank on the imposed monthly service charge. Eustace, who expressed his concern on his radio program today, says such a cloak of secrecy puts customers in difficult situations.
I don't think sufficient information has been given by the banks or the particular bank concerned on this matter to the public. That's number one I want to say. Two, to take that kind of decision indicates that there may be some difficulty in the amount of money that the bank is earning. Why the charges are put on, why they're put on certain accounts and not others, what kind of accounts are exempt from the charge, and questions of that sort can be answered, or the answer gotten from documentation and speaking to the bank staff. But people are withdrawing their money.
The opposition leader says any additional fees by financial institutions is an indication that the economy is unstable.
Party, I've been saying to you that the economy is not doing well. That unemployment is high. People are borrowing less. And a lot of people's loans are not being properly repaid. And therefore, the banks are making less. And they too will be seeking ways to remain in business. And that could include some of the kind of charges that we see arising now. So I believe it is vitally important for the public to have the information.
Meanwhile, on another matter, Eustace says that he will be taking legal action against radio announcer Dwight Bing Joseph based on comments he made on Boom FM during an interview with former NDP Senator Dr. Linton Lewis. This over statements Joseph made last week suggesting that the party leader, Arnim Eustace, had sold a senatorship to Dr. Lewis. A day later, Joseph apologized for the statement. On radio today, Eustace says the apology is not accepted and the matter will be dealt with in the court of law. In related news to the bank fees, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, the ECCB, has expressed concern about the increase in commercial bank fees and charges across the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, the ECCU, and the effects on depositors. According to the ECCB, it does not have the powers to regulate commercial banks' fees and charges. As a consequence, individual banks determine their fees and charges. Article 34 of the ECCB agreement permits the ECCB to regulate the minimum savings rate, that is, the minimum interest rate paid on savings deposits. In a media release, the ECCB states that the issue of a bank fee and charge has been discussed by the Monetary Council, which is the highest decision-making body. The release further outlined that the 83rd meeting of the Monetary Council held on November 6th last year, approval was given to several recommendations related to bank fees and charges, which include establishing an office of the Ombudsman for Financial Services to mediate on behalf of customers with complaints and address other disputes and resolution matters. Establishing a working group to review commercial banks' fees and charges and to report its findings and recommendations to the Monetary Council, which include the compilation of data from the ECCU and other jurisdictions within CARICOM. It also encouraged the ECCU Bankers Association to use moral suasion to establish a defined range of fees for various products and services, which would be published for public information. The ECCB says commercial banks operating within the ECCU are encouraged to explain to their customers and the public at large their rationale for the increase in fees and charges, and at the same time encourage customers to remain calm, carefully consider their banking options, and determine what services best meet their needs at this time. President of the Canouan Island Development Council, Terry Bino, is crying foul and feels that he is being discriminated against by the investors on Canouan when security tried to have him leave Goodall Beach on Saturday, May 21st, 2016. According to Bino, he, along with some other sea bathers, went to Goodall Bay when their security detail and police informed him that they should leave, noting that they had an injunction against him. But the president of the Canouan Island Development Council says that the injunction is no longer in effect and that he is free as a citizen to have access to the beach. Bino, who has been an activist on beach access for residents on the Grenadine Island for over a decade, is adamant that he has a right to be on the beach and that he refused to leave when he was told.
I had to explain to the police officer that we are just here relaxing. We're hearing that the resort, well, not the resort, but persons from government and so on is saying that persons are allowed to go to the beach. The resort is taking you by golf cart. But while they're saying they're taking you by golf cart, they're discriminating because they're not taking me. So how could that be public access for everyone when you're still discriminating against certain people? So I say the beach is public. In fact, 198 feet from high water mark is the Tree Chain Act, which allow persons to play and enjoy. So how could you remove us from here? He basically just sit there for a while and then they left.
Bino is pleading with the developers to resolve the issue, which he says is hindering the progress of the country, noting that such confusion over beach access is hurting the tourism industry.
Fix this problem. Put access in place. And fix this problem. I believe they can have more tourists come into the investment that will benefit everybody. The longer that this prolongs and it continues like this, tourists and rich people don't like to associate themselves with problems. It will certainly hurt and hamper the investment and St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a whole. I'm advising the government and the investors to sit down and fix this. The law does not compromise. The law says that public beach must have public access. It is as simple as that. Fix it so that everyone can benefit in the long run.
Describing the victory of Taiwan's new president, Tsai Ing-wen, as the perfect testimony of the democratic way of life in his country, Ambassador to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, His Excellency Bashan Gur, noted that the nation's first female president stays committed to enhancing the country's national development and strengthening its international ties. Speaking at a reception last Friday at the Taiwan Embassy, which saw members of both sides of Parliament in attendance, along with other officials, Ambassador Gur extended his appreciation to the solidarity shown toward his country by the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It marks the 35th anniversary of the establishment of the diplomatic ties between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Republic of China, Taiwan. I would like to take this opportunity today to express our appreciation and to say congratulations to this marvelous relationship. Our two countries share a strong commitment towards building stronger and closer political, economic, cultural relations. Therefore, we are very sure that under President Tsai's administration, the ties between our two countries will be further strengthened. I've been told in numerous occasions that to maintain a strong relationship with the Republic of China, Taiwan has always been a bipartisan consensus in this country. So your presence today says it all and means a lot to us.
In his address, Prime Minister Dr. Alf Gonsalves outlined that there is no doubt that the relationship between SVG and Taiwan will continue to grow, and reaffirmed his government's commitment to not only broaden ties with Taiwan but also remain interested in its development.
So Louis is there at the moment now, and Minister Brown and Parliamentary Secretary Charles, they're also there, because we wanted to show our great respect. And indeed, Luke Brown is leaving Taipei anytime now to go to Geneva to make a strong statement, among other things, in relation to the admission of the Republic of China, Taiwan, on the WHO, the World Health Assembly. President Tsai and her administration can rely on this Prime Minister and the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for continued solidarity and to further strengthen our excellent relations.
Expressing his congratulations to the government and people of Taiwan, opposition leader Anim Eustace also noted his appreciation for the country's involvement and contribution to the development of SVG. Eustace pointed out that there has never been a disagreement between Prime Minister Gonsalves and himself as it regards relations with Taiwan, and further added that he hopes to see the continuation of this relationship for many years to come.
We've gone through 35 years of mutual support, and I believe there's no other mission here that has the same type of a genuine relationship with our population as we will have with Taiwan. I believe she has indicated already aspects that are particularly important that have to be handled as we listen to her inaugural address, and I look forward to an even longer relationship between our two countries.
The police here are investigating the shooting death of Wilmore Guji of Chauncey on Saturday afternoon. Guji is said to have received multiple gunshot wounds about his body in the Pauls Avenue area around 3:40 p.m. on Saturday and subsequently died. His death brings the number of homicides for the year thus far to 13. Meanwhile, police are seeking the public's assistance to locate this man, Leja Alexander, alias Soup, of the Glen Brighton area in connection with the shooting death of Guji. Alexander is said to be armed and considered dangerous and to be approached with caution. If seen, persons are asked to contact the nearest police station or Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of crime at telephone number 457-211, extension 264. Mervyn Thomas, a technician from Rathamil and a former member of the local constabulary, has been arrested and charged for theft. Thomas is accused of depriving Shelly Ann Jacobs, a vendor of Mackey's Hill, who is also his employer, of the sum of 460 EC dollars on May 9, 2016. When Thomas appeared at the Kingstown Magistrate's Court this morning before Senior Magistrate Bertie Pompey, he pleaded guilty to the charge. Court prosecutor Elgin Richards, who is also a former training colleague of Thomas, told the magistrate that he felt very sad to deliver the facts, as both of them trained together at the Old Montrose Police Training School. Richards further noted that Thomas opted to take a negative career while he chose to pursue a career of policing. The court heard from Richards that on the date in question, Jacobs returned to her Mackey's Hill home after doing her vending in Kingstown and placed $460 in a teddy bear save-all. Thomas was at her home doing some technician work at the time. When Jacobs made a search the following day, she discovered that the cash was missing. As a result, she reported the matter to the Criminal Investigations Department, who carried out investigations and took Thomas into custody, during which time he admitted to the police that he stole the money, resulting in him being charged. A fine of $600 was imposed upon him to be paid forthwith. In default, a 3-month jail term will be imposed. And this country's Chief Magistrate Rayshan Brown says when one is sitting on the bench and has to adjudicate and come to a true decision with regard to serious offenses, it is not an easy task to determine a sentence at the end of a trial after both the prosecution and defense have closed their cases. According to her, on many occasions she had to adjourn sentencing to a later date to determine the proper sentence to be imposed. This, she said, had caused her many sleepless nights, but in the proper analysis, the law has to be applied correctly. The magistrate made the comments last Friday before imposing a 9-month jail term each on Ronnie Clark, a 36-year-old taxi operator from Belair, and Garth Richards, a 36-year-old carpenter of Stubbs, on a charge of possession of 34 pounds of marijuana at Rose Place Beach on October 23rd last year. They were also ordered to pay $20,000 each by March 31st, 2017, or face an additional 6 months in jail on the charge of trafficking. Both men were intercepted with the drug after police at the Narcotics Division acted on a tip-off and proceeded to the Rose Place area, where they took up several positions. It was during such time a speedboat with the 2 occupants went ashore with the drugs on board, which resulted in the apprehension. Carnival Beat is coming right up. The North Windward Carnival kicked off with a hyped launch on Saturday night. The event, which took place on Saturday at the Georgetown Primary School, saw an appearance of 5 of the beauties who will be vying for the title of Miss Windward 2016 on June 10th. Speaking at the launch, coordinator of Rural Carnivals, Ezzy Roberts, says while 2015 proved to be a challenging year for the area regarding the cancellation of its carnival activities, he expressed much gratitude to the committee members of the Windward Cultural Organization for coordinating the activities this year.
Many situations where persons, individuals, businesses, organizations may go down, and sometimes they stay down. But when they go down and they come back up, we have to give recognition. The committee that has been organizing carnival in this area over the years went through some challenging times last year, and they were able to organize the carnival. And the carnival was basically some activities were given to a private promoter who got permission to organize these activities. And this year I'm happy to be here in the company of the folks who are originally organizers of the carnival.
Chairman of the North Windward Cultural Organization, Dylan Morris, urged the residents of the area to give full support to the carnival activities, which will be held under the theme Uniting the Windward Area Through Culture.
There will be the beauty pageant on the 10th of June, the Juve and Street Party on the 11th of June, and the Wet Sweat following the Street Party. And that same date, the 11th. And then the Carnival cool down on June 12th. We're anticipating your support, and I ask everyone to be peaceful and be calm. We would not want to have any acts of violence, so we're going to encourage everyone to come out and support us in our activities.
Meanwhile, the North Windward Carnival 2016 launch saw the official appearance of the 5 contestants vying for the title of Miss North Windward 2016. They are Monifa Cordis, representing Miss Cayo, Zone Seymour, Miss Baraboo, Crystal Pope, Miss Georgetown, Kimesia Bowens, Miss Langley Park, and Loris Nero, Miss Pepper Village. The pageant will take place on Friday, June 10th.